Just take it.
You cannot offer me this ring.
I'm giving it to you.
Don't tempt me, Frodo.
But what about the holy grail of props? The ring itself, the ring of power that makes its wearer invisible, enshrined in a velvet case, perhaps. Try Tupperware, labeled battery packs, wires for Gandalf, by art director Dan Henna, to disguise it from any souvenir hunters. Can you imagine how much this might fetch on eBay? For the movie, nearly a dozen separate rings were cast, different sizes. There was one, of course, for the fire scene with Gandalf, another for close-ups, and of course there was one for Frodo's finger. But there's only one ring with the true power, one ring to rule them all. I doubt very much this is it. Never underestimate the power of the ring. For everyone who sees Lord of the Rings, the question is, how did they do it? Well, with a little Middle-earth magic and 21st century style. Much of what I saw while we were there was shot against a giant blue screen, which allowed the film wizards to conjure up everything from a 7-story castle to a battalion of monstrous orcs here at Pelennor Fields. The movie's ultimate battle for Middle-earth is waged in a place called Pelennor Fields, the wide shots taken 3 years ago. This colossal clash is a planned distraction, allowing the little hobbit Frodo with the evil ring to sneak behind Mount Doom, where the ring might be destroyed. But Pelennor Fields needs more close-ups. Careful choreography of warriors cloaked in good and evil. Strange not hearing the clang of steel, but that's added later. Action! Director Peter Jackson will keep shooting battle scenes until they match his imagination. By our count, Aragorn has bounded into the breach 19 times today already.
Cut! Captain!
This is the first time I sat down all day. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stand back up.
It is gritty, physical labor, punctuated with moments of complete boredom only an orc might fully appreciate.
Songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side.
Some of the orcs are girls, fans, just here for a few days.
We're down here for a holiday, so just thought we'd give it a go.
Young Johnny Grindlay wanders among them with a food tray. He used to be just a fan who hung around the set. Hang around long enough, and you're in charge of snacks. And here's another inside tidbit. See that orc fighting Aragorn? His name is Lawrence McCory, and he spent 4 hours getting into that makeup. What you don't know is that he is Lawrence, too. He already fought and died in the first movie. But of course, only an orc's mother would ever know.
30-minute lunch today, folks, 30 minutes.
It's Armageddon, followed by barbecued chicken, Caesar salad, and an assortment of pastries. As for Aragorn, on set a king, off the set a jester. Waiting for the battle to start up again, warriors play cards. What's a little poker among enemies?
We'll kill them on set and we'll play cards with them in the mess.
Orcs cheat. Orcs are dirty,
Orcs
man.
cheat?
Oh, mate, big time.
A small problem. Mortensen, still in full costume, wants to duck out for a noontime errand. But there is a strict rule against going off campus in costume. They want to cover him with a robe.
Really disguised myself with this bathrobe.
To keep the myth of Middle-earth alive, kings and hobbits should not be seen, and more importantly, photographed in the real world. Meanwhile, director Peter Jackson, as he so often does, is not stopping for lunch. He's scouting a location a few miles from the studio. They'll make a quick determination of whether or not they can shoot a scene with Gollum and Frodo and Sam. It's a very natural setting, and Peter has mentioned to me that nature is often the very best set designer. Curiously, Jackson always has his hobbits moving from left to right on the screen, and for a reason.
Coming towards us here feels quite good because we do want them basically travelling left to right.
Yep.
So, see, if you look at the movie, ever since they leave Hobbiton, on their way to Mordor, they travel left to right across the frame. That I've always thought once they walk away, they should always be travelling in one direction.
Jackson, of course, reminds a lot of folks of a scruffy hobbit himself, though he confessed as we walked along the ridge, right to left, that it was another furry creature that first led him into film when he was only 8 years old. Another fantasy world, King Kong.
It was the fact that it wasn't real, and yet I believed totally in the emotions of the film. I mean, I was looking at dinosaurs and a giant gorilla, and it was black and white. It was set in a bygone era, so there was all that impediment. But nonetheless, I cried at the end.
That childhood experience is key to Jackson's approach with Lord of the Rings. Though special effects certainly were all the buzz in the second movie, Jackson insists characters, not computers, drive the final film.
This is not the first halfling to have crossed your path. No.
You've seen Frodo and Sam.
Get beyond the special effects and back to the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Still, the sheer wizardry of special effects is hard to deny. Take that hybrid of human actor and digital beast called Gollum. He's a bad guy who's trying to be good.
Be nice to them if they be nice to us.
He used to be a hobbit like Frodo, till the ring corrupted him. Now he's helping the hobbits destroy the ring. Or is he? Is he loyal to Frodo, or only to the power of the evil ring? Actor Andy Serkis is Gollum, and models Gollum's voice on his own cat.
When you're feeling a little bit tight in the throat in the morning, Gollum juice.
Ready?
Watch this.
Action.
Serkis plays the scene in a skin-tight motion capture suit so that cameras programmed for computers can record his every move.
Never!
Eventually, the scenes can evolve like this.
Ah! He's a horrid, fat, horrid,
A tour de force of visual effects from designers Dean Wright and Jim Riegel.
Over the course of time, Andy was so good at it that he became Gollum, and Peter was just, he just started saying, copy this guy.
Of course, Gollum is only one of the trilogy's sophisticated computer tricks.
This sort of filmmaking that you're seeing here, I think, is what is going to happen in the future to a lot of films, where you build a piece of set to do the scene that you need to, but at some point, blue screen just takes over.
Beginning with master artist Alan Lee's first sketches, the scene grows in complexity with each additional pass. That blue screen behind the set allows the director to digitally layer in whatever backdrop an artist's imagination can conjure. And oh, how they can conjure.
Minas Tirith, City of Kings.
Sometimes the magic is miniature. This colossal 7-tiered city of kings, Minas Tirith, is actually a 16-foot high model built from foam, resin, steel, and dreams.
These shots are entirely effects. There's no live component. It's all a miniature component and then a digitally animated component.
Alex Funke heads the movie's miniatures team.
If the audience says, wow, that was a great effects shot, it means you haven't done your job.
Yeah.
Because you've kicked them out of the story. You've kicked them out of the involvement with the film because they were looking at what you did instead of looking at the story the director was telling.
Lord of the Rings' expensive and complete obsession to detail is nowhere more striking than right here. Outside the tiny windows, laundry hangs. Along the city walls, moss grows. And look over here. This is a side of the model that is rarely shot.
Probably never see this.
Probably never seen in the movie, and yet here are 50 stairs that go up into a tunnel.
That's the thing that gives the spirit to the work.
And it's the spirit that Peter Jackson is working on this afternoon.
Coffee!
A critical scene for the third movie is being prepped for filming. We're in the Golden Hall. Aragorn is here, and so is Gandalf. But Jackson isn't getting what he wants.
We're trying to make Gandalf a bit more vulnerable in this film, which I think is important, that he's not, he's not a perfect wizard.
Of course, that doesn't keep Jackson from demanding a perfect performance.
Frodo lives,